Hey guys, Brock Crow here with Crow Homes, and today we're going to go over 3 expenses that keep you broke and how you can win financially. On average, Americans spend 54% of their total income on these 3 things: housing, transportation, and food. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how you can offset some of those costs, that way you too can win financially. The first topic we'll go over is what most Americans spend a majority of their income on, and that's housing. Housing tends to make up on average about 30% of our total gross income monthly. The easiest way to offset housing costs would be to purchase a home yourself and then rent out other space in the home. If you're capable of buying a 3 to 4 bedroom house and you're only one person, maybe you rent out the other 3 rooms to roommates, and that can offset your mortgage, maybe even pay it completely. In some markets, I know that this is possible to not only pay the mortgage, but cover the utilities costs, and also give you a little money in your pocket at the end of the month in the form of passive income, pretty much. It's cash flow. If you can manage to do this successfully and have all of your expenses paid, that would put 30 cents per dollar back into your pocket. You could use that money for anything. If you wanted to use it for vacations, if you wanted to use it for investing, or my favorite way to spend it is buying more real estate. Let's say you're not in a position to buy your own house. You can still use this method to offset your housing expenses, but maybe you would have to rent a room for a little while. If you currently live in a 1-bedroom apartment or a 2 or 3 bedroom and you really can, concentrate your lifestyle down into a smaller space, best thing to do would be maybe find a cheap room rental, save up some cash, maybe in the future buy your own place, and then you can be the landlord renting out to your roommates, putting money in your pocket and equity growth every month. The most interesting part about this strategy is in a lot of markets you can find 2 units, 3 units, 4 units in the form of like a duplex, triplex, or a quadplex, and the lending guidelines in the US will actually count those as single-family homes. Why does this matter? Single-family home loans are much more easy to obtain than a commercial loan, and they tend to come with lower down payment restrictions and better quality interest rates with a higher end long-term loan product. For example, if you're an Army veteran or if you live in a rural part of the Americas, you can get a 0% down loan through the VA or through USDA as long as you're buying a qualifying property. That means you can pretty much walk into the house with either 0% out of your pocket or only paying the closing costs. Closing costs can sometimes be negotiated by your realtor. You can have the seller pay for the closing costs. So some of these products, when you're with VA or USDA, you can walk into the house with no money out of pocket, fill it up with roommates, and then immediately you're living for free and building your net worth every month. For everyone else, an FHA loan is generally the most popular loan product used by first-time home buyers due to its attraction of the low down payment. You can put 3.5% down and then move forward with a 30-year loan product at a fixed rate, which is a very high-quality loan product and could help you build long-term wealth. Let's run some numbers. If you're able to find a duplex or triplex in your area around $400,000 or less, I know these don't cover or reflect every market, especially expensive metro areas like the one that I live in. On a $400,000 loan, your mortgage amount without interest and tax would be around $2,147. That means you would need to be able to buy, if you were going to buy 2 units, you need to rent 1 unit for pretty much $2,200, and then you also have to worry about tax and insurance, which is probably going to be $200 to $300 depending on where you live. This varies state to state, so make sure to check your local property tax rates before going forward with this strategy. If you were able to purchase a 3-unit building at this price point, you would need to rent 2 of the 3 units for around $1,250 a month to cover all of your expenses between PI-TI, and that's with an estimated around $2,500 a month. That's pretty typical on a loan around that size. I'll have some links in the section below. That way you can run your own mortgage rates from mortgagelending.com, and then you can kind of use your own specific area to figure out what your numbers would look like. The biggest trick to this strategy is figuring out exactly how much it's going to cost per month versus what a room for rent or another unit for rent would cost in your area. If you can make these 2 numbers the same number, you're basically going to come out of pocket $0 and build equity plus your net worth every month. In more expensive markets, I know buying a 2 or 3 unit building is not realistic, especially around the $400,000 range. In our market, you could easily spend $1 million on a duplex. So, in a market like the DMV, the best way to implement this strategy would be looking for a small house, maybe 3 bedrooms, or you can go for a larger house if you're willing to deal with that many roommates. Anything with 3 to 5 bedrooms, you'd want to look between $450,000 and $650,000 in our market to try to make these numbers work as cleanly as possible. If you were to buy a 5-bedroom house and then rent out 4 of the rooms at $700 to $800 a month, which isn't unrealistic in our market, you would probably be able to cover your entire mortgage expense. And that's a big deal, since in our market, typical mortgage expense is going to be around $2,500 a month. I mean, that puts almost $30,000 in your pocket a year if you can execute this strategy successfully. If you're interested in implementing this strategy in the DMV area, my wife and I at Crove Homes, we house hack a little bit ourselves, and we own a few properties in the area. If you want more information, or if you're looking for a property like this, you can get all our contact info at our website. I'm going to put the link below. It's crowhomesales.com. The second largest expense that most people incur is going to be transportation costs. On average, 14% of every dollar we make goes towards transportation costs, whether that be a car payment, parking, insurance, just overall cost of gas and maintenance. There's a lot that goes into owning a car, and we just kind of overlook it as we're, kind of spoiled by everyone having a car. If you live in a major metro area, I have below a link that shows 20 major metro areas and the possible savings that you could incur by getting rid of your car and taking public transit. In a super busy city like New York or Boston, you're looking around like $1,000 to $1,200 a month in savings. Just by not owning a car. I know like some parking spots even in DC, they're $25,000, $35,000 to purchase. You're looking at $150 a month roughly just to have a parking spot for the car that you make payments on and pay insurance on. So, a bus pass or using the local metro may be a great option and a good way to offset your expenses. If you live in a more rural area and the metro system or public transit is an option, then all you would have to do is maybe look at what you're driving. If you're driving a Mercedes-Benz and you don't have any money in the bank, maybe you should start looking at a Toyota or a Honda. If you're able to reduce your car payment, this can help significantly with your savings rate. Depending on what you have going on, some cars are underwater. I understand you won't be able to get rid of it. I also have a strategy for that. Using an app like Turo, where you can rent your car out in like a rental car style situation, you basically just park the car, put it on the app. If someone's looking to rent a car in your area, they can reserve the car, and then you pay, hourly or daily fee. This can help offset your car payment and your insurance costs. So if you could, maybe just not drive on the weekends, or if you only need the car 2 or 3 days a week, you could rent out the car the other days and hopefully offset that balance. The third and final topic, which is still a significant amount of our income, is we all spend, on average, about 10% of our income on food. I know not everybody is spending 10% of their income on food, but hear me out. If you're shopping at a grocery store, like let's say Whole Foods, for example, something higher end, mostly organic products, you're going to spend more. It's just a fact. You're going to spend more than you would at maybe like a Walmart or Giant or Safeway or something like that. I have a link below showing comparison of 8 major grocery store chains, including Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and then what they call traditional grocery stores. In our area, I would consider that like a Giant or a Safeway or something like that. There's a list of basically ingredients that you would pick up at Whole Foods. You'd be looking around $73 for this short list of ingredients. Very basic things like pantry staples, proteins, things like that. The exact same list of ingredients purchased at Aldi would cost you $33. That's over a 50% savings in your food, which would bring you from a 10% expense on food to around a 5 or 4% expense on food. Every percent that you can save, you can put towards investment, towards your future. So these things are things we overlook, and they might not actually really affect your quality of life too much. Like, are you going to be able to tell the difference between the chicken breast at Aldi's and a chicken breast at Whole Foods? Maybe you can. Personally, I cannot. I do know that the ones at Aldi's are about $1.99 a pound, when at Whole Foods you're probably looking $6.99 a pound. If you're already grocery shopping at a cheaper store like Lidl or Aldi, then you may need to look even deeper into your finances as far as what you're spending on food. Maybe you have a takeout habit, or you're used to going out on the weekends, maybe brunch with friends. I'm not saying you have to give up all those things, but be conscious of how much you're spending. For example, when comparing a homemade recipe found online at one of my favorite cheap recipe sites, known as Budget Bites, I'll attach a link below for the recipe. To make spaghetti and meatballs homemade, you're looking at about $3 a serving. You get 6 servings, total cost of ingredients around $18. To get 1 plate of spaghetti and meatballs at one of my favorite Italian restaurants in DC, you're looking at $37.50. I'll leave a link for the restaurant as well below. This is a great place to eat. I'm not knocking it. I know that the restaurant has other expenses. They have to pay rent, service, they have to make money on food costs. I'm not saying never go out to eat. What I'm saying is be conscious. If you're really trying to save money and stay conscious about your goals financially, then maybe going out to eat has to take a seat on the back burner for a little while. So I did want to end the video with like I guess this would be like a bonus tip for savings, but this factor would be different for every single person. It's also going to come with a book recommendation. So I have here is The Latte Factor by David Bach. This is a New York Times bestseller, and it's pretty much a story about a girl who goes and buys coffee and a muffin every single day and complains that she doesn't have any money. She meets a very wise man who owns the coffee shop, and he basically explains to her that going to buy coffee and a muffin every day may be holding her back from actually saving money and reaching her goals. Her goal is to travel a little more, maybe see her parents more, and by spending $7 a day on a muffin and a cup of coffee, when she could be spending 50 cents a day, she is essentially holding herself back from those trips that she gets to take later in the book with her dad. It's a great read. David Bach's excellent author. He's also the author of The Automatic Millionaire. If you're not interested in investing in real estate, The Automatic Millionaire is a great alternative for building wealth long term. I've actually implemented all three of these strategies into my lifestyle, and since then I've been able to quit a job that I didn't like, start a business that I love, be able to grow, spend more time with my family, spend more time on vacation, and honestly just feel like I'm flourishing a bit more successfully in the financial realm. I also don't feel that these things really take away from your lifestyle. And there's an adaptation period to everything. If you're not used to sharing housing, give it a few weeks or a few months, you'll probably get used to it. It's not as big of a deal as people make it seem. If you're interested in this kind of strategy or you want to talk more about it, I'm free to talk. If you want to go on our website, you can contact us through there and set up a time for a phone call. I'd love to hear what you think. Thanks guys, bye.